welcome to the Catholic Forge, a conversational podcast where we gather to explore our Catholic faith and discuss how it forms our lives. All are welcome to join in this conversation and journey. Thank you for listening.
Hey everyone, welcome to the show. This is Eric in Missouri, and today I'm joined by Richard Vargas. The inspiration for this episode has come from a couple different places. First of all, shout out to my friend Ed, who runs a podcast called Foot in the Door. And he had his dad on the podcast. His dad served in Vietnam, Hamburger Hill, and it was an amazing episode, this conversation they had together. And I thought, wow, isn't that something? And then just recently here at the parish, we had a funeral for a gentleman who served in the Pacific during the Second World War. And the stories about him, unbelievable. And so I spoke with someone in the family after the fact at the lunch, the funeral luncheon, the bereavement lunch, whatever it is. And I asked, I said, did someone record the stories about your grandpa? And they said, no, they never did. And I thought, well, what a shame. And so it's kind of been running through my head, this idea of speaking with veterans about their experience, but for the podcast in the context of Christian life. And so, well, first of all that to say, welcome, Richard, to the show. And would you just give us a sense of your life? Where you grew up, what your family was like, kind of your early years, your adolescence, because we'll talk about your time as a soldier. We'll get to that, but just give us the Richard picture.
Okay, again, Richard Vargas, born in Kansas City, Kansas, September 6th, 1944. Number 12 of 14 children that lived to adulthood. My mother lost 4 babies. Jokingly, I would tell people, if you had 13 siblings mad at you at the same time, you're probably the one that messed up.
Right. You're funny.
A given. Probably a given.
Yeah, sure.
Mexican, Catholic, was blessed to go to parochial school.
Nice. Grades
1 through 8. Went freshman year to Catholic high school, boys military academy, De La Salle at the time. I pleaded with my parents not to send me back again. Corporal punishment was the rule of the day.
Sure.
Mass punishment. One person messed up, everyone suffered the consequences.
Right.
The first big mistake I made doing that, because from that I went to the public school, and truly I learned more academically in my single freshman year at Catholic high school than I did collectively for the next 3 years in the public school.
Really?
I did, because they didn't care. I'd go in, I'd take the pop quizzes, just be at school, and that was it.
Just get through it.
Yeah, they didn't care. So I didn't push myself because there was no one there to push me.
So well, first of all, I'm just struck by the combination of these two words, Catholic military school. I mean, how many of these can exist anymore today? Are there any left at all, do you think?
I don't know of any.
I mean, maybe somewhere in the world.
Yeah.
Maybe on the East Coast or in the Northeast, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I have no idea where there are any.
We'll have to look at that. That's fascinating. And you begged your parents not to send you back. What was it about that experience that was so negative, or that turned you off so much?
The main thing was the mass punishment. I was a decent student, didn't cause any problems, but you always got the clowns, right?
Right.
And the clowns get you laughing, and you can't control it, and everybody
the giggles,
suffers.
Right? Yeah, sure.
And it's a military school.
Yeah.
But I did learn, again, academically, more there in that single year.
Okay.
A mixed blessing, if you will.
Right. Yeah.
So, if that makes sense.
Sure. Or okay. So then we're in Missouri here, but pretty much in Kansas. So you were still on the Kansas side during high school?
No.
Or you came over here?
No. I was born in Kansas City, Kansas.
Oh, okay.
In 1944. There was a big flood on Friday, July the 13th, 1951.
Okay.
Thousands of people lost their homes.
Wow.
You can still see the watermarks in that area. And this happened in 1951 on grain elevators. So families were looking for anything that's vacant.
Right.
So that's how we ended up in Kansas City, Missouri.
Okay.
It's still Kansas City, but now it's on the Missouri side.
Okay.
And so I grew up in Kansas City, Missouri.
Yes.
And I went to school, all of that.
Right.
I don't know that there's... Life is what you make it. The situation you're in is what you make it.
Yeah.
I thank my mother for that, because she said, you are no better than anyone else, and no one is better than you. You just treat people like you're supposed to be, like you want to be treated.
Absolutely, yeah.
That's the way. I just visited the hospital today, taking communion today, and visited with a vast array of different people, right?
Oh, sure, yeah.
They're just all kinds. And this is the way I was raised. Number 12 of 14, and my dad was probably making $1 an hour when I was a kid, right? And my mom would, you've heard the expression, give you the shirt off their back.
Right.
My mom would give people clothes off the clothesline.
Right.
They had what they called gandies, the hobos and the winos and all those.
Right.
And they would come to our house and they would ask for food. And my mom would prepare food for them. As kids, have us take it out to them, visit with them.
Yeah.
Just talk with them.
Wow.
Give them clothes off the line. Neighbors would say, Mrs. Vargas, can I borrow a couple of dollars till payday? Dad's making $1 an hour. She wants a couple of dollars, right?
Yeah.
She'd give it to them. A week later, 2 weeks later, the water's turned off. Mom, there's no water. Oh, don't worry about it. God will take care of us.
Uh-huh.
And this was normal. Next time somebody needs to borrow some money for a payday, till the lights are turned off. Mom, there's no light. Don't worry about it. God,
right.
God would take care of us.
Yeah.
That's how we were brought up.
Mm-hmm.
And he does.
Yeah.
Believe it or not.
Yeah.
He really does.
Yeah.
I don't have that much faith. I'm sorry to say.
Yeah.
But that's how she lived her daily life.
She really lived out that saying. Mary Lou, my dear friend in Kentucky, we were just talking about Kentucky, she always quoted Dorothy Day, who said, when you're, I can't remember, Richard, what the exact words are, but it was in the spirit of, when you have nothing left to give more. You know, or that was Dorothy Day's idea that when, if you have, you know, if you need $100 and you only have $1, give 99 cents to the poor, you know. And I don't know that I agree with the idea of like, well, if you give, then God will return money to you, because that gets into some dangerous territory. But the idea of, you know, surrender, not desperate playing and crying, which was part of Christian life too, but surrender, just like your mom said, God will take care of us.
Yeah.
And the lights came back on, and the water came back on. So you've got a big family. What did your dad do for that $1 an hour?
My dad worked for the railroad, Rock Island Railroad, and Dad came to the United States the first time in 1918.
Okay.
From Romita, Mexico. His dad died when he was 12. He had 2 younger brothers. He was 18 when he, his mother, and 2 younger brothers came to the United States the first time. His mom did not adapt, so they went back to Mexico.
All of them did?
All of them did.
Okay.
And then sometime later, my dad came with a brother. The youngest brother stayed with his mother in Mexico.
Right.
Never came here.
But your grandma stayed back in Mexico.
Yes, never came. I never knew her. And my dad met my mom. They got married. And
here we are.
Here we are.
Sure.
Here we are.
Wow. So So your mom definitely was staying at home then with all of you in the household. So you're at the back of the pack, sort of.
Right.
So how many years was it between you and your oldest sibling?
Well, let me put that in perspective.
Okay.
I am 73.
Okay.
Soon to be 74. My mother-in-law is 92. My eldest living sister is older than my mother-in-law.
Yeah.
My eldest sister would probably be about 95
Sure.
today.
Wow. Yeah.
Somewhere in there.
So a 20
I didn't
20
know
or
her.
so years. Really?
I didn't know my older brothers and sisters. My oldest brother
Well, of course, I guess.
was
yeah.
10 years older than I.
Yeah.
So when he's 17 and I'm 7,
Right.
what do you have in common?
Dinner. Right.
I remember
Yeah.
very vividly my oldest brother joined the Marine Corps when he was 17. I didn't have anything to do with him, right? I'm 7. He comes home from boot camp. I was being a kid, raising Cain, and he whipped me. And I'm thinking, who is this guy
Yeah.
coming in here whipping me?
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
I didn't know him.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's sad to us now as adults.
Sure.
You know,
Yeah.
when you're kids, I tell people, when you are siblings and you got 4 or 5 years between your age, when you're a kid, that's a generation.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
You know, somebody's 13 and you're 7 or 8 or 9.
Yeah.
That's
They might as well be. Yeah. If you're a 7-year-old and you meet a 12-year-old, they might as well be in college. You know, that's because that's the way. Because your view, it's like you can only see 5 years in front of you. You can only see 5 feet in front of you. Absolutely.
Right.
So that's a great. What an amazing picture, and you know, shout out to your mom for just living that open home, very much. I mean, just a raw gospel life. You know, where you might as well not even have doors on hinges, an open door policy, and to teach you as well. Not just. I love the way you said it. Not just. Here, take the casserole out to the wino or the hobo, sit with them, you know, eat with them, talk with them. You know, that's something that we miss, I think, in our time. Speaking for myself as well, is it's tempting to just get rid of our money and think that we've really accomplished the work. When I think my idea, anyway, of charity is that our Lord invites us into that transforming work, where it gives back to us what we give into it. You know, it's too easy to just cut the check and off it goes, when really I think God wants for us to be transformed through the fruit of that work, to see and interact in whatever good work we're participating in, whatever it is. You know, and for all the listeners, whatever you're doing in your life, you know, it's a retroactive thing. Something's coming back into your life from the good you're putting into the world. Not karmaic. It's not karma. It's sort of I don't know. I don't know how to describe it. Anyway, get me off the soapbox, Richard. So we're through high school, and so now it's what we're talking. It's early 60s.
1963.
Okay.
I graduated from high school.
Very
Northeast
nice.
High School.
Okay.
I had 3 older brothers. They all joined the military. That's what we did. This was our country.
So so 10 years ahead of you? So was he in Korea then, or was
my
he?
second brother was in the military during Korea, but never.
But not in combat.
None of my brothers went overseas.
Okay.
They were all stateside.
Sure.
The first brother joined the Marine Corps.
Okay.
Not to offend anybody, I like to have fun. Okay.
Sure.
Jokingly, when you have a bunch of military guys, all branches, trouble is going to ensue.
Right. Yeah.
Jokingly, you know why the Marines builds men?
No.
They can't get any. It's a joke. It's a joke.
My dad was in the Navy, and he will not be offended. It's okay. Yeah.
My oldest brother joined the Marines. He was in Barstow, California.
Mm-hmm.
He ran a printing press for 3 years in the Marine Corps.
Oh, wow.
My second brother joined the Marine Corps. He worked at the Enlisted Men's Club in Needles, California.
Okay.
And that was his job. My third brother joined the Air Force. He went to Waco, Texas. He was in Waco, Texas, lived off base, and ran a printing press for the government in Waco, Texas.
Fascinating. Okay.
Richard is the last Vargas boy to go in the military. Now, I volunteered.
Okay.
And went to the Air Force. July the 10th, 1963. Went to Lackland Air Force Base for basic training. Went to Air Police School at Lackland Air Force Base after I finished that.
Mm-hmm.
Went to Fort Worth, Texas, Carswell Air Force Base. Was in the 24th Combat Defense Squadron in the Air Police. Now it's 1964.
Yeah.
At that time, there were people involved in Vietnam, but they were called advisors.
Right.
Quote unquote advisors.
Right. Yeah.
So I volunteered to go to Vietnam in 1964. And didn't go, and I volunteered again in 1965, and I volunteered to go again in 1966, and I'm going to be discharged in 1967.
Okay.
So I'm getting close to, within a year or so of my discharge date, so I thought, I better pull that withdrawal thing so that I can get my things in order for home.
Yeah.
Well, before the paperwork went through, I got orders to go to Vietnam.
So let me just back up just a little bit because I want to fill in some of that time, even though we're at the doorstep, I know. So 64 to 67 then, what were you doing?
I was in Air Police.
Well,
I went to Okinawa.
Okay.
On TDY, they called it temporary duty. So I was, let's say, fortunate. Because I got to go to Okinawa. I went to Guam. Went to the Philippines. Been to Vietnam.
Mm-hmm.
So I did get to travel.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Sure.
that was. Yeah. It was a learning experience.
Yeah.
And we'll let it go at that.
Sure.
But I wouldn't trade it.
Yeah.
My faith was at its lowest ever.
Wow.
In my life, in my year in Vietnam.
When before you went, those 3 years or so, what was your faith life then? Or just when you were in the service? You're traveling, meeting lots of people.
What people don't understand, when you're in the military, it's not weekends off.
Right.
It's every day. Christmas is just another day.
Yeah.
Easter's just another day.
Yeah.
It's not, and when the civilian gets all the emotion in it, and in the military, if you got an office job, it is like an office job. But like I said, I was in Air Police. We worked 3 days. We would work from 3 to 11.
Okay.
Got off at 11 o'clock. We were off 24 hours.
Okay.
3 days we worked from 11 to 7. We're off 24 hours. 3 days we worked from 7 to 3.
Oh my gosh.
So every 3 days you're changing shift.
And
that was supposed to keep you on top of your game.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the way it was.
Yeah.
Every
3 days. Or
with those 3 years, that's the way it was. Every 3 days you change shifts. And then you got 72 hours off, and then you'd start the cycle again.
That's amazing.
You do not adjust to that.
No.
That first midnight shift was a bear. I'm not joking. It was a bear. But that's the routine.
Yeah.
That was normal. That was the norm.
If you're going to fly, to the other side of the world where the time zone is different and everything is different, then at least there's some conditioning there to being thrown totally for a loop. I have a friend who's visiting the States from where she grew up, from Australia. And I asked her, I said, how's the time zone? And she said, I don't know what day it is, because they're 13 hours ahead from us. And I can imagine. So you're thinking about that withdrawal, and then the order comes down and off you go.
And
So I mean, just take us in. What was that like? Did you call your mom?
Pardon me?
Did you call your mom?
No.
Really?
No. My dad, this is sad. This is so sad. My dad never did become a U.S. citizen, right?
Okay.
And my dad said this is not your country. And it saddened me because this was not his country. Your mother country, a lot of ethnic groups said your homeland or your motherland, okay?
Sure.
Pick a nationality.
Yeah.
Well, no, you're not. This is home.
Yeah.
This is home. And that's sad to me that my dad felt that way. He did not want his sons to jeopardize their safety for a country that, in his mind, was not their country.
Even though you had been born here,
even though
he still felt that Mexico was home.
See?
Yeah. Well, I understand what you mean. Is you hear like the fatherland, like in Germany and Eastern Europe or European countries, or the motherland.
Yes.
So I see that there's a separation there between the sentiment of the place that you're from, just like people who are immigrants to this country from anywhere else might always say that's the motherland, but would still say, but America or the United States is my home. So there was
hyphenated. Come on, let's get away with the hyphenation. Okay?
Sure,
please.
Yeah.
Either you're American or you're not.
Right. So there was some tension there. What was it? I mean, obviously, like you said, the years were pretty spread out. What was it like when your older brothers volunteered? Like, were you aware of that with your dad, or you were so small? I guess.
Idea.
Yeah.
One of the most profound things in my life in the Hispanic cultures, like in biblical times, the father would bless his children. Right?
Oh, of course.
The Americans don't do that. I mean, what is that?
Yeah.
A blessing? Oh, you're going to pray before your meal?
Yeah.
No, it's the night before I left for Vietnam. Wow. My dad gave me his blessing.
Wow.
And I know why. I don't know if I could do that. Because he knew I was volunteering for this.
Right.
For something in his mind that wasn't my country. Yes, it is, Dad.
Yeah.
But he gave me his blessing because I was going to go.
Yeah.
And that's sad. To this day, it's sad.
Yeah.
But that was his mindset.
Especially knowing what was happening inside his guts.
Yeah.
For him still to overcome that to bless you. What an amazing thing. So you didn't, but so you didn't tell your mom, or she was there, or like he called you, or what happened?
Well, I
or did you get to come back home before?
You always get furlough. So I got my furlough.
Okay.
And that's when I told him when I came home. You don't want to tell him on the phone or in a letter, right?
Yeah.
So
Good for you. Yeah.
Yeah. So I came home on furlough, and so then I told him. Big party, and just partying all the time. And young and dumb, right?
Right.
So anyway, and I'm thinking, well, I volunteered to go, and the only reason I was going to withdraw because I've been trying to go for 2 years.
Sure, yeah.
And so now let me get my stuff in order. Well, it didn't happen. So I did go. Now here's the grace of God, I think. The airlines went on strike while I was home on furlough.
Okay.
Nationwide. Okay. I was in air police, I told you. And when you get a furlough, they'll give you like up to 10 days travel time to get to your destination. Well, guess what guys do? They stay at home until the day before you got to report.
Sure.
So I did that.
Yeah.
Thousands of us, tens of thousands did that. Well, at that time in 1966, guys are going over by the thousands.
Yeah.
I mean, just counting.
Huge deployment waves.
Yeah, just unbelievable. So it's time for me to report San Francisco. I'm going out to Richard Escobar Air Force Base on 71 Highway, and traffic is backed up, not just a figure of speech, for miles. Guys are trying to get on a military aircraft to get to their reporting station.
Right.
Or you're AWOL if you're not there.
You don't want that.
So I told my brother, I said, just go on past him. He says, I can't. I said, yeah, you can. Just get on the shoulder, and we're riding the shoulder. And people honking and being friendly, waving and all this stuff.
They're
right?
waving something.
We get up to the main gate, Richard Escobar. Air Police is manning the gate.
Uh-huh.
I go up to the gate. I show him my identification. I said, I got to get on a plane.
Yeah.
I got to report. So he says, come on.
Yeah.
The brotherhood, right?
Yeah, sure.
So all these people, way back.
Yeah.
So I wave my brother on. Come on.
Let's go.
So we get on, and I get on a C-124 airplane. Man, but I got there in time
you made it to San Francisco. Okay.
I made it to San Francisco.
Okay.
Now we are going to deploy on. Oh, this is classic. Class A uniforms. Everything is shiny. Everything is spotless. Stewardesses are hot. I mean, it just it was the living the dream.
Sure.
And they're treating us like kings. And we're getting close to Tan Son Nhut Air Base in Saigon. And we're making our approach.
So you're flying on a civilian aircraft?
Commercial airplane.
Commercial, okay.
Commercial airline. That's
sure.
Yeah.
So then by the time you got to San Francisco, had the
strike was still on.
But there were still some flying out of San Francisco to Vietnam.
Oh yeah, you're going to Vietnam.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I mean, military has precedence.
Right. Okay.
But they just do. They always will.
Yeah. Okay.
Military has precedence.
Okay, so you're flying in.
So we are making our approach to Tan Son Nhut Air Base in Saigon. And I look out the window and I thought, oh my God, what have I done?
Sure.
Because now I'm seeing tanks and I'm seeing barbed wire and I'm seeing bunkers and I'm seeing all this stuff.
Yeah.
This is not going out and playing paintball, guys. This is for real.
Yeah.
And I thought, what have I done? And then there's some sick humor for me. You can tell the guys that are new in country because they look like deer in the headlights, just looking, it's a sick humor. And after you're in country a while, the helmet's over here and the flak vest is over here.
Right. It's just like you see in the movies when the green sleeves come in or whatever, or whatever, or not green sleeves, but the greenhorns.
Yeah.
The recruits come in and they're fresh in country, and the mortar shell goes off and they hit the deck, but then the seasoned soldier's standing there like, well, that's one of ours, son, or whatever. Like in the movies, sure. Wow.
It's sick.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think that is self-preservation because you drive yourself crazy.
Yeah.
You cannot live every minute of every day for a year in that frame of mind.
Yeah.
You can't do it.
Yeah.
And that's why I mentioned that was my faith was totally non-existent because I just sad. I didn't care about anybody, anything. And the reason I say that, because you see news reports of the the way that my fellow citizens were reacting to the situation that we were in.
Right.
That did not leave a good taste in my mouth.
Oh, sure.
And I called it personal. I called Vietnam the disgraceful war, and I say that because of my country, the way they reacted. I'm not saying it was good, bad, or indifferent, but that was my feeling at that time.
Sure.
And it didn't get any better when I came home.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
People don't understand, until you experience whatever it is, you don't understand.
Oh, of course.
Lose a child, you don't understand until you lose a child. We lost our first child. And people don't, you try to be there.
Yeah.
But people aren't hearing a thing you're saying.
Yeah.
You might as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're not there.
Yeah.
Emotionally, you're not there.
Yeah.
So, but all God has a reason for everything.
Yeah.
I believe that.
Oh, yeah.
I'm
Me too.
sitting here because God has a reason for it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I've just came from the hospital for taking communion today. So you think you've got it bad, really? You do the pity parties, but look around and how other people, the crosses they have to bear.
Yeah. Yeah.
But by the grace of God, we're there to help them carry that cross. And they for us.
Yeah.
Unless you do like in whichever story it is in the Bible, one of my favorites, this poor worthless soul is by the side of the road, and one guy comes by and says, I'll pray for you. Have a blessed day, and you go on your way, right?
Yeah.
Like that's going to help, right? And the other one just crosses the road, and I said, like you're doing this, I don't see you.
Don't look at all,
Right? I don't see you. But the person that does something, I hope that's me.
Yeah.
The person that does something. I'm not an eloquent speaker. I'm not a PC guy. I'm not mission statement guy. I'm none of those things.
Right.
I'm none of those things.
Yeah.
You have a problem. What can I do to help you?
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's do it.
That's such a great reflection that you can only offer yourself. And that's precisely the motivation of the gospel, is to offer yourself as a living sacrifice. That reminds me, just to affirm that with a little story, we recently had a family in the parish that experienced the death of a young member of the family. And Father and I met with them, as we do with almost all the families, to prepare for the liturgy. And we're sitting in there, and there were quite a few members of the family who gathered with us, but the parents just were looking off, like they were looking into a fog. And here I am trying to ask them what kind of music they want at their funeral. And so when we got there, I said, let's go into church and let me play a couple things for you. And if anything resonates, we'll go with that. And so we go in there, and this is exactly what happened. We went in there, and I started, we all kind of got around the piano, and I started to play, and I don't even know what it was. Let's just say it was On Eagle's Wings, a great favorite. And I start playing, and the mother just came undone. She hadn't cried the whole meeting. We were in there for like an hour. She hadn't cried. She barely said a word, just looking off. As soon as the music began, it just went right through like a harpoon to her heart. And she actually walked over. It made me a little uncomfortable, but I let it happen. She walked over as I'm playing and singing and wrapped her arms around me and just cried into my shoulder. And I was like, okay. But that resonated with me exactly what you said, is I couldn't tell her I understand what you're going through. I couldn't give her psychological counsel or comfort that way. But I gave her what I had, the gift of music. That's what I gave her, and that's what broke through.
That's what she needed.
Yeah, and so you're absolutely right. What do you say to a person who's been in wartime, who's served in that capacity? I can't sit here and tell you I understand, but to be present, that ministry of presence that we talk about on the podcast a lot, to really have that frame of mind, that presence for the other person, it can change everything, about the way you interact with them. So you were there for a year. Yep. I mean, like exactly 365 days, or did they kind of?
Here's got it working.
Okay, let's hear it, man.
I volunteered in July the 10th, 1963.
Okay.
To go in the military.
Right.
My orders were to ship out from the States on July the 10th,
66?
1966.
Right.
I deployed on that date. You had to be, when I got there, and this was months after I'd been in country, there were so many people rotating, and they had to make room. So because I was 1 day short, or 1 day of over my 1 year deployment, they sent me back 15 days so that I could process to get out.
Right.
So I left Vietnam on Friday, June the 23rd at 10 a.m. And we were airborne for a while, and they said, we're out of range. Music, brother.
Yeah. Oh,
music.
I can't imagine. Yeah.
Music.
Wow.
But yeah, I don't know if I said the term young and dumb before.
You did, yeah.
Okay. So I told you I had volunteered to go. And finally I went, and everybody got, they called it hazardous duty pay or combat pay. Everybody in the war zone got that. At that time, it was $90 a month, combat pay.
Okay.
However, at Tan Son Air Base, Saigon, the air police had asked for volunteers for escort duty for munitions convoys.
Okay.
Volunteers. And if you volunteered for that, you got double hazardous duty pay. You got $180 a month.
So it's the same thing, hazardous duty and combat pay?
Same thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're at $180 a month?
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you volunteered for this escort service for munition convoys, you got $180 a month.
All right.
So my logic is, well, when it's time, it's time. If it's your time, it's your time. So I thought, yeah, sign me up.
Sure.
So I signed up. Now, listen to what I said. Yeah. It's a munitions convoy.
Right. Yeah.
So I signed up for it, and that's what I did off and on. For $90 a month.
Yeah.
More.
Yeah.
But like I said, you just don't think about it. You just do it.
Like you said, you didn't care about anyone.
No.
So it really, there was no difference to you doing that, but in doing something else. You were just like, well, more money.
Yeah.
which maybe you didn't even care about.
I didn't
it wasn't
care
like the money,
about.
like, okay, yeah.
I'm here.
But they needed people to do it. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, and there were 14 of us, 14 guys. Mm-hmm. And we were in Jeep escorts and dumb again, but they would rotate us. 3 men to a Jeep. They had a driver, machine gunner, and an ammo carrier, a Jeep commander. And you rotate those positions.
Yeah.
Not fun when you were manning the machine gun.
Yeah.
Because you are standing up.
Right.
And they didn't have any. You didn't.
No
you
armor.
had your goggles. That's what you had. Your flak jacket and your helmet.
Sure.
And like I said, you didn't wear them.
Yeah.
So I did not like that. But that's what you did.
Yeah.
So it's a mind game. It was a mind game.
Yeah.
And by the grace of God, I'm here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because there was guys that didn't come back.
Oh yeah.
So But God is so good.
Yeah.
He is just,
Wow.
man, I can't say it. I don't know how to express it.
Yeah. That's a pretty good way to say it.
I've
Simple.
told,
Yeah.
I've told when Father Jim Toronto was here and Father Powers now, I told both of them, I said, you know, Father, I said, I know gluttony is a sin. It is sinful to be gluttonous. However, I love him so much, I can't get enough. And the more I get, the more I want.
Yeah.
And I really feel that.
Yeah.
And I hope he'll forgive me that gluttony. I can't get enough.
Yeah.
He is just so amazing.
Mm.
What else can you say?
Yeah.
But we take so much for granted.
Mm.
I talked to converts to the Catholic faith. Oh, they got hands and way above us on us. Because when you're a cradle Catholic, you take everything for granted.
Mm.
You really don't. You don't realize what you have.
Yeah.
You're a kid and you're studying for the catechism question that's yours.
Right.
Okay, you're number 6 in this row, and I'm going to study in that question. And then the nuns move it and they start the other side of the room. You're done.
That's funny.
You're done.
That's funny.
But that's kids.
Sure.
You know.
Yeah, absolutely.
But
Wow.
no, I enjoy life. My bride, Saint Mother Teresa now.
Yeah.
One of the sayings she said that I've heard, whatever you do it in love.
Yeah.
I try to do that for myself.
Mm-hmm.
However, when my wife volunteers me to do something for someone else, there's not a whole lot of love in there when it starts.
Right.
It takes time.
Sure.
Sometimes it never comes.
Yeah.
But that's what we're supposed to do.
Absolutely. Yeah.
See, like I said, I want to perceive myself as a doer.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about stuff.
Yeah.
I don't want to praise people. And not that it's not important.
Mm-hmm.
Who cares about plaques and awards,
Right.
and pins?
Right. Yeah.
I don't care about that.
Mm-hmm.
What the scripture says? All this stuff that's here, the moths are all going to eat it away, and it's nothing.
Yeah.
Your treasure's in heaven.
Yeah.
That's where it is.
Yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
I believe that.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to work my way to heaven. I only get there with the mercy and goodness of God.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Yeah. It's and yet it's still that action, that doing, that solidifies the faith. You know, it's not, because faith is not just a concept. You know, it's not just a thought like any other of the billion thoughts we have. It really is an adaptation of our whole life. You know, like you mentioned, that hunger for God, even in the Eucharist. You know, there's a true change that happens in ourselves where we become more than what we are in the person of Jesus Christ. You know, that's an amazing witness. And so now, you know, obviously you made it through that whole wartime experience. And one of the things that, you'll forgive me for doing a little sleuthing before, you know, we interviewed, but I asked our good friend Ann, I said, you know, would he want to talk about it? And I just didn't want it to be disrespectful to you, knowing that she probably knew you better than I did. And one thing that she had commented on, as many other people have as well, is that many veterans don't care to discuss their experience at all. And if they do, not all the time, but what I have found through just learning and listening is they typically will only discuss their experience with other veterans who were either in the war they were in, or in their branch, or who served in combat. And you'd mentioned when we talked before, you know, that you have done work at the Veterans Hospital and that kind of stuff. What is your experience like of these men and women now? Do you find that's true, that they won't talk about their experiences, or do they open up to you because you were in country, in combat?
Well, I tell you, and again, all of this is personal perception, right? I used to belong to the VFW.
Sure.
Years ago.
Sure.
There's so much smoke being blown there. It's just, I just had to. I don't need this, right?
Yeah. Sure. Literal smoke.
Everything's not
smoke.
a competition.
Yeah.
Right. It's not. Just do your thing. Do what you think is right.
Sure.
I belong in so many different things, and I tell people at all of these different things, why is it? And I don't know that I'll ever understand it. Why is it that we are so concerned and so absorbed on what other people think about us?
Yeah.
What we say, what we think, what we do. And we don't seem to give a thought about what God thinks about what we think or say or do.
Yeah.
I don't understand that. I really don't. I don't understand that.
Yeah.
I don't, not to be disrespectful to people, but I don't listen a lot. I mean, I'll be courteous and
Sure.
I'll pretend like I'm, but I wouldn't be able to tell you 10 minutes from now.
Yeah.
I pray throughout the day. My first prayer when I open my eyes in the morning. Thank you, Lord, for another day. Help me to see you in everyone you send my way. And I'm off.
Yeah.
Off to the races.
Yeah.
And my night prayer. Thank you, Lord, for another day. Forgive me all my transgressions. Grant me peace. See you in the morning.
Yeah.
I'm just a simple guy. I told Father Toronto, Father, I'm just a simple guy. And he said, I know that, Richard. You don't have to tell me that. Oh, wait.
Yeah, you're funny. Yeah.
But no, I just try to treat people.
Yeah.
I don't care where you live. I don't care what you drive. I don't care how much money you got in the bank. I don't care what color your skin is. I don't care if you're packing or you got a switchblade or I don't care.
Right.
I don't care. It's not relevant to me.
Sure.
Because you're still my brother in Christ.
Yeah.
You're still my sister in Christ.
Yeah.
I can't change that. And that's just the way it is.
That's right.
See, people say things. I've said this before. I'm not a PC guy. And I'm almost ashamed to say this. I said almost, but not quite.
Okay.
I'm involved in different things. And when people volunteer verbally to do something, if it's in my realm, I will hold you accountable to what you said.
Yeah.
Because you said it. So I would tell people, okay, here's this list of names that are wanted to be involved with this ministry X. How many on this list want to be involved actively? Not the same thing.
Yeah.
In thought, well, bye, go away.
Right. Yeah.
Go find something else to do. That's not PC.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I don't want to waste time, and I don't want to waste your time.
Yeah.
If I do something or say something that offends you, please don't go tell somebody else. Tell me.
Yeah.
Because I might not know that I said or did something to offend you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll never know except through the grapevine. And then I will come back to you and I said, and apologize if apologies are necessary. But please come to me.
Yeah.
Scripture tells you that also.
Yeah.
Go to your brother.
Yep. Absolutely. Yep.
We say a lot of stuff, but we don't do as much as we say.
Yeah.
So, I'm not being judgmental. I'm just, all this is personal.
No, I think all very, really excellent ideas to live by, really worthy meditations to to consider and to hold on to. I appreciate that. That's the spirit of what we're doing here, is just that open sharing and latching onto things. And as people listen, different people who listen to this episode, even to this interview, are going to find different things that they're going to carry with them. Someone who, that's the thing, is I think I'm the same way that you are in some regard, where I'll get done speaking or whatever it is, and I'll think, golly, you went on way too long. And what did you even say? But then, 3 different people will come up and say 3 different things about my presentation. I've done a couple things here at the parish. Definitely that's happened, where one person will say, oh, the history portion was so whatever. Oh, it was the music. Oh, it was the personal sharing. People who are listening to this episode, someone's going to write in or let me know and say, wow, when he shared about his time in country, or wow, when he shared about growing up with all those kids, or wow, when he shared about the relationship with his father, that was what touched me the most, So you give your whole self over to another person, and just the way that you're giving of yourself here. I know it's just in a podcast, and it seems strange because here we are in the music room, and is anyone else listening? Well, they will listen, Richard, and I appreciate that a lot. Is there anything else that you'd like to either add about your time, as a soldier or now as a veteran? Would you like to comment on kind of the status of veterans in our country? Anything at all? Kind of just, I'll let you have the floor, and you can close us out.
Well, one thing that I have to say,
please,
I resented it when I was overseas. And not to be disrespectful, but a GI can be one of the sorriest things that walks the face of the earth.
Okay.
Really.
Sure.
Can be. A gentleman taught me years ago, Richard, there's a phrase called, quote unquote, weasel words. And advertising uses it 100% of the time.
Okay.
And some of those weasel words are could, may, has been known to be, possibly.
Sure.
In other words, they are not making definitive, declarative statements.
Right.
Weasel words.
Yeah.
One of the greatest lessons I've ever learned, because I listen to people. And when I hear for example, if I have a question for Eric, and I ask it, and I hear a weasel word, I will ask the same question with different verbiage.
Yeah.
And if I get another weasel word, I'll ask it again in a different way.
Yeah.
And after 3 tries, I know I'm not going to get that question answered.
Yeah.
So I let it go.
Interesting.
That's just the way it is.
Yeah.
People will not make definitive statements.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I don't know why. My bride says, honey, everything is not black and white. I said, you're right. Maybe the 10 Commandments was the 10 suggestions. No.
Right. Yeah.
No. We individually create the gray to justify the dumb things that we do.
Absolutely.
That's, again, all this is personal.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, no, I totally agree.
Yeah. So that's just
yeah.
And another thing, God, I love her so much, but she says we're only human, and I said, I'm not a moron. I know we're human, but does that justify?
Yeah.
No, it doesn't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it doesn't. People are not going to believe this, but my wife goes to Assembly of God Church in Harriam, Roman Catholic.
Sure.
And it is so beautiful. It is just so beautiful. Because we feed off of each other.
Sure. Yeah.
And God is so good. He just is.
Amen.
He
Amen.
just is.
Amen. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But no, as far as the military, and I wandered there, when I was overseas, we would see the locals with their scooters and their Lambrettas, they called them, all their modes of transportation.
Sure.
And they were like ants around an anthill, all at the main gate waiting to get your money. I resented the heck out of them. Because look at these parasites. I mean, I didn't say it, but I thought it.
Yeah, sure.
Guess what? I came home from Vietnam. Travis Air Force Base. San Francisco, California. Came to the main gate. Guess what? Those parasites had migrated to stateside.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah.
People are people.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter where they are.
Yeah.
What color their skin.
Yeah.
People are people.
And it's possible, I mean, you would know alone, but it's possible that those parasites were there when you left, but you didn't see them. They weren't in your frame of reference until you came face to face with them in Vietnam. I've heard that story so many times before in different cities that I've lived in, and people will say, "Oh, well, we don't have any homeless in our town," and then someone from the local soup kitchen, will invite them, say, "I'd like you to come and have dinner with us, and then I'd like to take you home with these people, not to drop you off, but so that you can see, that long street that you think has no end, it has an end." And that's where they live in the forest, or whatever it is, Richard. Whatever, or here with the big freeway. Like here at the church. I mean, we're not far from the freeway, and you can bet the people that come to our institution looking for help, come to our church. They're coming off the freeway. They're getting off of trucks or whatever it is, and so, but you don't see that until you've really confronted it. Until you've looked it in the eye. And even in your situation where you were uncomfortable with it, or even through resentment, but it changed that filter. In a way, it was God working through you in spite of you, even though you wanted to be resentful. But the Holy Spirit still changing your heart, in a way to make you more receptive to other people. Which if the Spirit will do it however she pleases. However it's going to happen, it will happen mysterious ways, right? Yeah. Man.
Well, like I said, for veterans, you can't just give a label and make a blanket statement.
Of course.
Because we are all individuals.
Oh, yeah.
See, so you can't do that.
Yeah.
Again, some humor. I said, all Italians were not in the mafia. All Germans were not Nazis.
Right.
All blacks do not
Right.
carry pistols. All Hispanics do not have switchblades. You cannot do that.
Right.
But we do that.
Yeah.
And I said, hey, bottom line for me, I tell people, whatever works for you.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is between you and God.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah.
And I just let it go with that.
Yeah. Well, thank you for pulling the veil back and bringing out some of what was between you and God, but you've been willing to share it here today. I appreciate that, and certainly I found a very very handsome picture of you on your Facebook page that I'll share with the people so they can see what you look like. If you don't mind, you did. Yeah. Well, thank you, brother, very much. This is very beneficial, and thank you to everyone for listening. We hope to do. We had all kinds of special guests on the podcast, young and old, and clergy and laity and all that. And so we don't do this all the time, but we like to mix and mingle a little bit with the other content. So thank you very much for listening. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right.
Like lunch meat. I'm always ready, Eric.
That is... That's well said. I'm going to use that.